Hello and welcome to the channel, and welcome to the first episode of Marketplace Madness. Now if you're a guitarist like me, I'm sure you spend a lot of time browsing places like Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Reverb and wherever else you can buy second-hand gear to see if you can pick yourself up a cheap steal. And inevitably looking through these sites you come across some weird and wacky things. So in this series that's what we're going to be checking out. So, today I've got 4 listings for you, so let's get into the first one. So first up we've got this Dragon guitar listed as the JCJ Custom Electric Guitar. It says it's a Welsh Dragon design, which it is, and is custom made. The listing says, plugs in fine, plays fine, which when you're asking for £1,000, I think you'd want a little bit more than fine, but hey. So if we look through some of these pictures, it's a unique design, we'll put it that way, and it's got a dragon design on the headstock too. Apart from that, it's your fairly standard Strat type guitar. So this is a hand-carved Welsh Dragon guitar. The body is mahogany with a rosewood fretboard. It doesn't say what the neck is, but I would assume that's also mahogany. It's a bolt-on construction, acrylic fretboard inlays, Ghost pickups UKs. I can't say I'm familiar with those. It does say that it has a single coil and a hot rail, which I don't see any single coils on there. It has got a Floyd Rose and some dip switches, so maybe they're coil splittable or something like that. It's an interesting design. Personally, I think it's hideous, but that's just me. Apparently you can buy these for $1,600 brand new from JCJ, so I guess this is actually a mass-produced or produced by someone at least. So, moving on to the next one. And we're moving away from Facebook for this one and moving over to Reverb. To this absolute monstrosity. So this is a custom-made headless electric guitar, so you can't even see that from this, but just look at the state of this thing. This is coming from my opinion. You might find this incredibly attractive, but I think it is hideous. It looks like it would be quite uncomfortable to play. It looks like the neck would be very, very far to your right when playing it based on where this leg carve is, and oh my god, it has an axe head swinging round from this. What is the point of this bit at all? Is it to make it rigid? I don't know, but this thing is just odd. Like I said, you might think this is the coolest looking thing ever, but it's just bizarre. There's 2 of them that exist apparently, so there you go. They look like they're probably put together fairly alright. It's £650, so you'd hope that it's fairly well built, but it just looks insane. I don't think there's much more to say other than that. So, moving on to the next one, and back to Facebook Marketplace, we have this PRS electric guitar. Now, I don't know where to start with this thing. This is just all sorts of wrong. So, for a start, now I'm no expert on PRS, but I like to think I know my stuff relatively well. And if you know anything about PRS, you'll know that their first Telecaster-shaped guitars only released, was it last year? With the NF53 and the Miles Kennedy. They've certainly never done a traditional style Telecaster like this. So that's the first red flag, very blatant. Other red flags looking at this thing, the inlays look okay, surprisingly actually, but then you get to the headstock. The shape is just all wrong. This tuner here is rather on the piss, very out of line. This is listed for £135, so maybe it's a hand-built project or something that someone's made, but it's certainly not a PRS. Looking at the body, it looks like it's giving me Chapman sort of vibes, so maybe it is a more mass-produced body with then not genuine, but someone's copy of a PRS neck put on it, potentially. But even for £135, I wouldn't take the risk on this. This is just all sorts of wrong. and definitely isn't genuine. There's also only this single photo of it as well, so who knows. Anyway, on to the final listing. Now for this one, we're also sticking with the theme of slightly janky homemade guitars. So this is clearly inspired by the EVH Wolfgang guitar, but it appears to have been made in someone's shed. If you look at the alignment, okay, so the strings and pickups seem to be in line. However, the body is just everything's offset to this left-hand side slightly. Compared to the body, the neck is just very not straight. That's just odd to look at. The headstock looks... I'm not particularly familiar with the guitar that this is based on, so to me that looks fairly alright, but you can still tell that it's homemade. I mean, things just aren't straight and just level with certain things, but this doesn't look horrific from this photo, apart from everything being wonky. What on earth is going on there? So it's got, are they meant to be tree prints? And then it's all crackled around the edge. It's interesting, but this highlights how sort of, maybe it's intentional, but to me, just looking at there, it just doesn't sit right. It's very, very on the piss. I don't think there's much more to say than this. I'm sure it sounds fine and probably plays alright, because at least everything that you're playing is in line. It's just, to look at, just looks a bit wonky and off. So those are just a few weird things that I've come across in my adventures through various online marketplaces. I hope you've enjoyed this first episode. Drop me a comment down below with links to anything weird that you find when you're searching through these places, and I'll see you next time.